to the Contingency Plan Podcast. My name is Jedi Master Dave, and with me, as always, is Darth Austin.
Hello, everyone.
Well, folks, we didn't really know what we'd do today. We've already made the joke about doing a 1 minute end of all podcast, so we won't do that joke again. So the reality is we're actually shutting down the podcast.
That's right.
Forever.
You aren't giving us any money, so yeah.
Something happened with that last Disney check. I feel like there was some dark side energy just took it away. Yeah.
I'm doing well.
God. No.
So what are we talking about today? I think we're going to finally delve into the backstory of Shmi.
You mean Rey?
No, Shmi.
Skywalker?
Shmi.
Yeah, Fine. That was a theory at one point, right?
Yes, it was. That she's like reincarnated as Rey or something really stupid like that.
I went back in time to become Shmi to give birth to Anakin.
And then die. By Tusken. What? What did I do?
Wait a minute. What?
Wait.
That doesn't sound right.
Wait a minute. This is really stupid.
He killed them all. All of them? The women? And the children, too?
I killed them.
Oh, no. So, we're actually going to do kind of a retrospective of the first season of The Mandalorian.
It's terrible. It's the worst show ever.
Wow, bud. Wow. This is the way. You cancel Disney Plus, right?
Oh, yeah.
God.
No.
I'll be honest with you. I hate this living for the meme culture that we've created.
Yeah.
That was on Twitter. That was on everywhere, really, about, like they cancel it and then there's like a dialogue box and they just put Mandalorian's over. This is the way. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm sorry, guys, if any of you did that, but I think that's kind of lame.
Yeah.
I understand, legitimately, we did cancel.
Well, HBO sucks. There's nothing else on HBO worth spending $15, $20, whatever it was a month on.
Yeah, it was like 16 and change, I think. But after
Disney
Game of Thrones ended, we actually had it for maybe another month.
Yeah, we tried. We really tried to find other things.
Well, I think you were trying to maybe get into, what was it, Westworld or something?
I was trying to get back into Westworld. I had already watched it, but I was thinking about rewatching it, and it wasn't worth the $15. I'll just buy the entire series if I'm going to do that.
Yeah, but see, for me, I had no interest in any other series on HBO, so I was like, we just need to cancel this. And it was like after Game of Thrones was over, it's like, I'm done. I don't need it.
And we really didn't think twice about it either.
Yeah, and we make jokes about Disney checks because I find it hilarious.
Yeah.
When, I've heard, we have a lot of podcasting friends, and I've met a ton of podcasters who stuff like Celebration and blah, blah, blah. But when folks start calling out people as shills, Disney shills and stuff. So we make this lame joke all the time about Disney checks. Obviously, we're not getting paid anything. We're doing this for the fun of it. We're actual legitimate brothers who just enjoy Star Wars and always have. So that's why we talk about it.
And do you remember how many times, guys, that I've talked crap about Last Jedi? Do you think I'd be getting Disney checks if I talked that much crap?
Yeah, but kind of back to it, it's like, so the reason why I say that is because I actually think Disney Plus is awesome.
It is the best value as far as streaming goes right now for the price. It's ridiculously cheap. You buy it, it's a 1-year package for $70.
Yeah. Enter our promo code TC Plan Podcast for 10% off. I'm kidding. That isn't actually true.
10% on ours. We'll get the 10%. You won't.
Referral code. But yeah, I mean, the thing is that I've rewatched Rebels. Mm-hmm. I'm going to start.
Clone Wars on there. You got Resistance.
I haven't even watched Resistance, so I'm going to start rewatching Clone Wars because we're coming up on that. Eventually, I'll do Resistance. I've been a little bit.
The animation's pretty rough on it.
I've been a little resistant to it, but sometimes you want to plug in. Like I was watching X-Men.
Yeah,
the original X-Men.
There's so many cool little animated
cartoon.
shows on there. Man.
Yeah,
you got old movies, not even like Disney movies. There's
there's Pixar.
There's stuff that I forgot existed. Not like naming really good movies, but like Xenon and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's like
it's crazy.
And they're just adding more stuff every single week.
So, I mean, legitimately, there's going to be goods and bads of every streaming service. I still keep Netflix around because there's things that I watch on there.
And they're consistent about adding a lot of new stuff, but Disney's going to be too.
Yeah. But I kind of rankle at the idea that you have to cancel this off because the one thing was there. And listen, there are people that legitimately only wanted to watch Mando. That's cool. Yeah. I get it. But there's a lot on there. And in an era where everybody has some streaming service, I actually think Disney Plus is pretty decent. And here's the thing. Again, we've talked about this, but we have Clone Wars coming up. We've got Cassian series coming up. We've got Kenobi down the wire. So they are putting out more and more content. I mean, we're already up for season 2 on Mando.
Yeah. You get the value of having every Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 11 movies that you would have to eventually. It's gonna be 11 movies that would cost quite a bit if you bought them all individually, even used on like eBay. So for someone getting into Star Wars, it's a great value. But
I mean, I'm sure you could probably get your VHS copies pretty cheap, or like your old.
If you can find a VHS player.
Old standard DVDs, you can probably get. But if you're
I still got that gold box.
Yeah.
I don't have a way to play it, but I have it
right up there on my right up there. So I think that it does provide a value, but again, just seeing all these people, this is the way Mandalorian's over. It just kind of it's silly. I just think it's kind of silly.
It's annoying. And even if I wasn't a Star Wars fan, I'd probably still pay for Disney Plus because it's just a good value.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot. There's a lot of nostalgia. There's just a lot on there, and there's some stuff that's not so cool too. I mean, let's be honest. Do I really want to see William Dafoe in a dog movie?
No,
not really. It's there though.
There's 20 of them probably.
But I will say the Harrison Ford dog movie. Have you seen the preview for that?
Yes, I want to see that.
There's a meme. I don't think I sent it to you, but it was like, so it was him and the dog, and it was like when you realize that you weren't actually a space smuggler with, Wookiee companion, and you were just tripping on mushrooms or something like that. So that was pretty good. So anyway, before we get started into Mando, how's the week gone?
Not too bad. How about yours?
Not bad at all. There's
a scare of just a death plague going around.
Yeah. The SARS X virus.
That's right.
That's not what it's called. I don't know what it's called.
It's
yeah. Well, we kind of go through these sort of what's the word? I mean, they always call them like a pandemic, but it's
worldwide.
It's never an actual pandemic, right. But the risk of a possible, this is the thing. Diseases evolve. You could get the flu shot and not get sick, but you could also get the flu shot and get sick because the flu shot's a guess. It's a guess at the virus that might be prevalent, and if it isn't, you're gonna get sick.
Yeah, and you've paid to get sick.
Yeah. So and I'm not an anti-vaxxer. Don't get me wrong. This isn't the anti-vaxxer podcast. I actually do believe in that because we were both vaccinated for all the stuff when we were younger. How would you like to have polio and an iron lung?
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that. There's still a segment in the back of my mind because I'm not a scientist that sort of questions. It's like, dang, we're doing a lot of this, but things still continue to mutate. What happens when we get the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man just attacking us? Ghostbusters reference.
Wow. Which is probably on Disney Plus. No, I'm kidding.
But it's that's kind of crazy. News is terrible. I tend to turn all that stuff off. I don't watch.
They sensationalize this so much that it's probably. But
the thing is,
it is a legitimate threat. Yeah. I think someone in the United States has already died from it.
Yeah, in D.C.
Like a 16-year-old girl.
There was somebody
like
in D.C. that I remember they had
someone's quarantined, but they were around 14 people or something like that. And like 17 in Japan.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult with that sort of stuff. You got to be careful. Heck, there was that Ebola thing, years ago.
Yeah.
That people were freaking out about.
Now we got influenza B going around my hometown. It's just end times. end times. We're all gonna die.
West Nile virus was real big there for a while. So just be safe and don't forget to take your space medicine.
Yeah. And don't go out of the country.
Yet.
Just don't go out of the country.
Stay in your homes in a bubble.
Yeah. Work from home if you can.
In a bubble. Yeah. So week's gone okay. This is the time of year when we start talking about raises and stuff, which is always the funnest part. And then we got our taxes to do.
I'm still waiting on my paperwork.
Yeah, you suck. I already got all mine. So
lucky you.
Grown up stuff, man.
That's what happens when your accountant and your payroll lady both take a vacation for about a month in January.
Yeah,
which should be illegal.
The absolutely worst time to do it.
Yeah.
So good times, and I'm sure we've lost most people. It's like, well, this is a boomer podcast now, huh? I actually was thinking about that. There are times when, like the whole "okay, boomer" thing. Mm-hmm. There are times when I've even caught myself. It's like, "Okay, boomer." just on junk like that, it just kind of makes me laugh. But thankfully, I haven't had a little kid say it to me, and I swear if they do, I'm going to do nothing because that would get me in severe trouble.
That's right. I do love those generational gap, memes and everything. Though it's always fun. Like one of them was I saw it the other day, without naming or saying your age. Age yourself, tell me something from your generation that only people from then knew. And one of them was video games only worked on Channel 3. Like, yes.
Well, and then
I'm that old.
Well, then I do remember we had a switcher where you could put it on 4 too.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could, but Channel 3 was the original. Isn't that funny?
So stupid. Never made sense to me why. But looking back, it's like, yeah, that's something we had to deal with, and I don't think about it anymore. And I don't think it would bother me if I had to go back to it. I do catch myself every once in a while, like looking for the controller. Like if I'm in someone's home and there's like an old console, I'm like, all right, what channel do I have to be on? HDMI 1?
Okay, boomer.
What's HDMI?
Oh, my goodness.
Just tell me how to get to Channel 3.
Yeah, good God. Well, we actually were talking about Raspberry Pis.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet Raspberry Pi.
I wouldn't mind getting a little arcade box, putting a Raspberry Pi.
I'm talking about Pi.
Oh.
No, I'm not.
Is it on Channel 3?
But I was watching a streamer, and it was like Christmas, and so they got him this Raspberry Pi chock full of all these emulators, NES, Super NES, Game Boys, 64, all that good stuff. And I was like, I could do that. And
I could spend that $60.
It's not expensive.
I know. You can get on like eBay, Amazon, all over the place.
Well, yeah, I made the decision that this boomer is finally going to get himself an iPad.
That's not a very boomer thing to say.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be now because all the Zoomers already have them.
That's true.
No, I've never really felt the need for it. But when Celebration kicks off this year, I don't want to take a laptop to edit material, so I'm going to edit it through.
And you don't want to take a $100 tablet with you because screw that nonsense.
Well, I mean, I want to take something reliable that I can actually do the editing for on the go, and it's mobile or more mobile. And
someone's going to steal it.
Well, you never know. I mean, that's always the last time we were in the hotel in Chicago. I mean, we just put the do not disturb on there the entire time.
Yeah.
And we would just get new towels and stuff from the lobby. It's like, don't come in our room because we have a lot of crap in there that we had thousands of dollars. Don't find me because I will. Don't look me up. But anyway, no, I mean, we always carried, like the recording equipment, the editing equipment, cameras, stuff like that. And this is
all
between
the memorabilia and everything you got too.
Yeah, this is between 4 people that
Yeah.
year, and it's just multiple things. And I'm just trying to condense. I got a new recorder, which I'll show you, the H2N, which is a mobile sort of deal, which I'm probably going to use when I go there. It's all in one. And I got a little holder for it so I can have this mic thing, Bob Barker thing going on, except it records you.
No more call issues when we record.
Well, that'll be another thing we have to think about later. But yeah, we definitely trying to get a little bit more of this stuff. Because I mean, technology grew a lot from when we were kids to now. There was no handheld gaming when I was young, and then all of a sudden this thing called a Game Boy. And the Sega Game Gear came out.
And now you got the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah,
and
which is awesome.
How many years between the two? It's just crazy how far it's come.
Technology's great, man.
You remember when you used to like the way that you would switch to TV gaming from a Game Boy was a GameCube because you could play Game Boy games in a GameCube.
Dude, I never
you got this.
I never had a GameCube. I actually,
but you knew of it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I was one of those. Well, we both were kind of like this. We just flipped a PlayStation.
Yeah.
Although I did have,
we had whatever our parents bought us.
Yeah, true. But I did have for Super Nintendo. I had the convertible cartridge where you could put the Game Boy cartridge in there and play it through the Super Nintendo. Nice. So that was awesome. I was playing Pokemon on the TV. Yeah, buddy.
Felt so high tech.
So high tech.
So and it was terrible playing that sitting down, actually having to focus on instead of looking out the window while you were walking so slow.
Focusing on the 19-inch TV. Yeah. I had talked to somebody about that, like remembering the big TV was like 24 inches, and now it's like nobody has under 32 inches.
Right.
I mean, that I think in the living room is like a 55, I think, that I bought this year or last year.
But it just doesn't seem that big anymore. You just kind of get... You expect that much.
You just kind of continue to like...
I could get bigger than that.
It's like that's a total dad thing, I think.
Yeah.
Because like our dad, when we moved years and years ago, he
spent some money.
He got the big newest like at that
it's
time
like a 50-inch, I think.
That was a
49
DLP or something like that, or projection. It was the projection style TV.
Yeah,
right?
Had the little tube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was fairly advanced because even then, like plasma was on its way out, and it was a great picture for the time.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is, 49 inches, and we thought we were like literally turning our heads, like, oh my god.
Yeah, and think about how far away like the couch was.
Yeah,
and we were fine with it.
Yep.
And now it seems like the older I get, the closer my furniture has to get, and the bigger my TV has to be.
Yeah,
to the point where I literally do have to look around.
Yeah, but now he has a bigger TV because that one took a crap on him.
Yeah, now you got the 60-inch.
60 inches,
wall-mounted that sucker.
I can't remember who made it, but there was literally one I read about where they're calling it the wall. It's like just anyway. We should probably get on to the Mandalorian. I'm sure
Star Wars.
I'm sure people are just like skipping,
dropping
ahead.
like flies. Speaking of Star Wars, you know what I downloaded last night and played a little bit of?
What?
Lego Star Wars 2.
Okay,
the original trilogy.
Dude,
and the graphics made my eyes bleed.
Listen, when they put out that new pack for the Lego Star Wars thing, I'll probably buy it.
Oh, the one that has all 9. Yeah, that'll be cool.
I don't
get why they waited a year after this movie came out.
I don't know.
Would have made more sense for them to do it at the same time.
Yeah, those games were fun though.
They are.
And I mean, you had Lego Batman, Lego. Oh crap! They made a couple of different franchises out of that.
They had Harry Potter. They had
Potter, right.
They had Indiana Jones.
Yep. Okay. Yep. And then obviously Star Wars, but
now it's everything.
Everything
under
is
the sun.
awesome. Copyright.
Now everything under the sun is Lego.
Yeah.
I mean, you can find anything.
Well, dude, we were playing with Legos forever ago, man. I mean, we were Lego G's. I had my Wild West set, just like 4 or 5 different little which is terrible because like I gave all those to my nephews. And I looked online and there was one, and it's a sheriff's station with this little tiny jailhouse that you push a little lever on the back and it pops the front off.
Yeah.
It's like $55 in a box. Jeez. And I kind of want to buy it because it was awesome. What am I going to do with it? Build it. What am I going to do with it after that? I don't know. Probably it will be
never
on a
touch
shelf.
it again.
But it's nostalgia is good to indulge in.
I still, you remember that little Yoda Lego figure I had with the cape and the cane and everything? Yep. Never did find that cane. I looked forever for that thing.
Yeah,
that thing's worth $35.
Really?
With the cane. Crazy.
Yeah, this is the guy who sold all of our old crap on eBay years ago and made all the money. Thankfully, he kept most of all the old Sega games that we played.
Still got all the old Sega games for your 3-way player thing.
Yeah.
We gotta get those one day.
We'll talk about that because that's another thing.
Do a video on that, but yeah, all the old Megazords and Transformers, all that stuff.
True that.
Kept all the important stuff.
All right, Mandalorian season 1. Let's jump in here.
Well, it looks like we are out of time, folks.
We are out of time. So season 1 came and went. I think that critically, this series was pretty resilient. There was definitely some criticism about some of the movement, some of the episodes. I think that there were a lot of people that were very hypercritical of things, but as soon as the season concluded, I think the general feeling of everything is overwhelmingly positive. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. I was trying to think of just some negatives of the entire season on my way down here, and I'm going to tell you right now, there are not going to be many negatives. It's very biased. Yeah. I like this series. It was great.
There are. I've talked to people that had some issues with certain episodes, but again, I think when you wrap it up, it was overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah.
So obviously, you guys can go back and listen to our old episodes. We did an episode by episode recap every Friday after they came out. Well, a couple of them were in the weekend there.
Just a couple Saturday morning ones.
Yeah, depending on schedules. But we always try to get those out almost directly after the episodes dropped. So you can go back and look at those individually in a micro. And now we're going to talk about them in a little bit of a macro sense. So first and foremost, let's kind of do this right off the bat. If you had to give a rating out of 10 for season 1, what would you give it?
I'd give it a 9.
Okay. I think I would also probably be more maybe like an 8.5, I think. I actually did a rewatch of maybe like 5 episodes today. I was going to try and do the entire thing, but I just wasn't able to binge that much.
Yeah, I got a couple in last night as well.
Yeah. So. And I think that, there are certainly, like the first episode, kind of had some elements of it where it's like, it's not necessarily forgettable, but it's just, it's a little bit,
backgroundy.
Yeah, a little backgroundy, but then you just progressively build and build and build. I think that this is a perfect setup to potentially what could be a long-running episodic show for Disney Plus. But yeah, I think a solid 8.5 for this is where I'd be at. You're obviously at a 9. Yeah. I think that that's fair.
Yeah, yeah. It's not a perfect show. There's definitely some issues, but it's also a gem. It really is.
Yeah, yeah. So, do you have a favorite episode?
And I don't remember any of the names of the episodes.
It's fine.
So sorry there. I don't. But it's probably going to be a toss-up between the episode where he deals with his old crew and busts free the crazy...
we will name that the Bill Burr episode.
The Bill Burr episode. Where are you, little guy?
God.
And probably the little village that gets attacked by the walker.
Okay.
Those are the two that stand out to me the most, other than the finale,
now,
obviously.
It's fine that you cheated because I did only ask for one episode. But
well, I can't choose between them. They were both really good.
Cheat.
Yeah.
So I actually also have to give a nod to that village one. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think that's where a lot of our memes really got off on.
Yeah.
Because that was the cup, the pushy buttons, and
which spawned the worst YouTube craze ever.
To be honest,
adding music to it, but I've watched a lot of them and I enjoy.
Some of them are dumb.
Let the bodies hit the floor.
yeah. Those were actually pretty clever. Some of them are clever.
Yeah.
But we were introduced to Cara Dune.
Yep.
We were introduced to this village of people that are kind of. We had the one woman who, wanted the Mandalorian to stay.
Love interest,
Potentially, yeah. And it's like, well, there's
all the kids playing with little baby Yoda.
There's something about her that clearly
we're gonna see her again.
She's probably a rebel or something like that, and she's coming back home or something.
We're gonna see her again, I guarantee.
I hope so.
Yeah. I
legitimately hope we do get more with that. But yeah, I think that episode was really, really cool. I also think that the finale, our final episode, was also very, very epic.
It was.
But yeah, the village one, that's probably my favorite episode.
And I think when you look back, and I'm going to go ahead and say it is my favorite too. You know, it's one of those standard TV show tropes. Oh, a bunch of people can't defend themselves. I'm going to teach them how in a montage, and then we're going to just destroy something there's no way we should be able to.
Yeah.
But I think if you look back in the show, watch the few episodes before that, this is when we finally get a shift from it being Baby Yoda-centric to Mando-centric.
Yeah.
I mean, we get a lot more background into him, his culture, his beliefs, his strifes as being a Mandalorian. I mean, he made it pretty clear, and halfway through that episode, he could consider settling down there. He could just give it all up. He considered it. He really did.
Well, you bring up a good point. We're not going to specifically go episode by episode because
we've already done that.
This is just a general discussion, but let me discuss one thing because we did do this. I want to go a little bit more in depth. So, the helmet.
The helmet that would be so easy to knock off.
Well, hold on. Okay, so these Mandalorians can't take their helmets off in public.
Yeah.
So, Rebels. There's an entire planet full of Mandalorians that all went helmetless, and then most of the time had armor on at least. Clone Wars. We also saw helmetless Mandalorians. This is canon we're talking about. We also have a lot of non-canon stuff as well.
Including the Mandalorian, by the way.
So for me, I'm really interested to see why they made that decision. You know, this is the way. Why is this the way? Are they trying to establish like an old lore, like back before all of this stuff where the Mandalorians maybe they were never taking off their helmet? Because a lot of the lore that I've read and so forth, and listen, I am not an expert on Mandalorian lore.
Neither of us are.
And if you guys have anything you can add on here,
please do.
Yeah, email us, tcplanpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter, at tcplanpodcast. Get at us on Facebook, all that good stuff. Let us know because, you know, we know some lore, but we obviously, we don't try and be experts. We like to talk about this stuff.
Well, look, the Mandalorians could literally be their own series and not be in the Star Wars universe. There's a lot to learn.
True. So. but my point is this something that they found in old text? Are they
radicals?
Well, yeah. And is this just something it's like, well, you know, the Mandalorians are essentially like sort of gone-ish and we need to try and do this, that, and the other. But here's the thing though. When you line up Rebels with this timeline, there are Mandalorians. Mm-hmm. Like you know, I know we had more issues with Mandalorians and everything, but listen, there are other Mandalorians out there. I mean, there would have to be because we have all this other stuff. And this is just a sect that for some reason doesn't want to show their face. I want to know why. And the thing is,
they're all Boba Fett.
Shut your mouth.
But no, seriously, like honestly, it would suck, but Boba Fett never showed his face, and are they trying to personify that with this? Even though he's not truly a Mandalorian, is that why they're doing this?
Well, yeah, true. But my thing is I think that is going to be answered in season 2. Yeah. I think we're going to hopefully understand why this particular creed is like this. And we also got all this stuff about the foundlings.
Yes. But we never saw them.
Exactly. So I think that somewhere they have more of these foundlings somewhere because they weren't in the caves, right?
Right.
Or in the sewers or whatever. At least hopefully not.
Yeah. Younglings 2.0.
I killed them all.
Random bloody stormtrooper just standing around.
Moff Gideon's just in there with the Darksaber. I killed them all. So there's definitely something more, I think, to that. This is the way than what we're seeing right now. It's just tagline, but I think that there has to be more to that. And let me just jump right in here, man. The Darksaber. How did Moff Gideon get the Darksaber?
We have to have a ton of flashbacks in season 2. We're gonna have to have them.
Yeah. Well,
both in Mando's childhood.
Yep.
The past few years before this, why he started this crusade of, you know, earning as much money as possible for the foundlings and everything. And yeah, we got to know more about Moff.
Do you think that we will see like flashbacks to, you know, like him learning basically how to be a Mandalorian. Like we obviously got a little bit more of that towards the end with the Mandalorian who found him and took him away.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll actually get any sort of flashbacks to him maybe training?
I think it'd be a shame
ways?
if we didn't, because this is a great way to introduce a lot of the Mandalorian lore. So, and that's something that you just need to see.
Okay.
Also, I'm kind of hoping that the direction that I kind of see they're going to go with this, with the Moff Gideon thing, is probably Darksaber was in the possession of that Mandalorian at that time before this show, and he probably ended up killing him.
Well, I'm a little hazy, so obviously you guys can correct us if you want. So the Darksaber in Rebels was found by Sabine. Well, technically found by Ezra and then Sabine. And then...
Which was originally in the possession of a Jedi Mandalorian, correct?
It was I think maybe the first and only Mandalorian, and I don't remember names. I didn't write that down. I wasn't really thinking about it. But yeah, that Mandalorian was a Jedi and created the saber for that purpose. So the thing is Sabine then gave it to Satine's sister, and I completely am spacing on that name too. That's nothing new. If you think I can remember a bunch of names, you're very, very mistaken. As a symbol of her right to lead the Mandalorians at that time. Now, I am spacing a little bit on the thereafter. But yeah, I mean, obviously, somewhere along the line... Moff Gideon got a hold of it. We know that. I mean, he has it. Derp-a-derp. But I think I would be really neat to see something in how he was able to get that particular saber, and honestly, why? So here's the thing: we don't have anything directly connecting Moff Gideon with Mandalorians right now. We only have this vague thing about him wanting Baby Yoda, which is completely separate.
Has nothing to do with Mandalorians.
Yeah.
They're enemies, but that doesn't mean anything.
So it's just one of those deals. It's like, so how did he get that? What does he want with Baby Yoda?
Is it just fan service, or are they actually going to tie all this together?
I think they will.
That's my only worry.
I think that they will, and I think eventually Mando will get the dark side. Wait a minute. So I've already said this, that I think it would be awesome to see like a Baby Yoda Mandalorian armor.
Yeah.
But what if
Baby Yoda gets the
his
Darksaber?
It's the Darksaber.
So end of season 2, I'm predicting it now then. Moff Gideon's about to strike down the Mando with the Darksaber, and Baby Yoda uses Force powers to take the saber from him. No, I'm kidding. But
see, I
kind of be awesome though.
I think you're honest. I definitely think there will be a showdown between Mando and Gideon.
Yeah.
I think that because of a historical sense, we've seen Baby Yoda kind of back him up. The child, by the way. Okay, John.
Yeah.
All right, Boomer. But anyway, I think that there is definitely history on that, and I think we will probably see an intervention. But actually, I was just thinking about this. How do you think we're going to age up Baby Yoda? He can't be a baby forever.
Yeah, but with that species, it's going to be really hard to make that work with keeping our cast of characters. They're all going to be dead by the time that he's a teenager.
All I'm saying is that eventually that thing's going to have hair. Like a mohawk. Yeah. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, because have you ever looked into the old lore art of teenage Yoda?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool hairstyle, so I'm kind of looking forward to that.
I'm just thinking that would be funnier in hell to see, like it'd be like a Groot.
Hit puberty.
It'd be a Groot thing, like, okay, all right, Dad, you're not my dad, okay? You just found me and stole me and then gave me to a bad guy and then rescued me.
Okay,
in
wait.
quotations.
Is he going to talk like Yoda though? Because that sentence doesn't work.
Well, here's the thing.
Did Yaddle talk like Yoda though? We don't know. That might just be a Yoda thing. It might not be the whole species.
I feel like it would probably be a species thing, but vocal patterns are learned.
Yeah. I kind of don't want it to be. I think it'd be kind of cool to have a Yoda, a baby Yoda that talks normally.
Well, that's the thing. I think he's obviously around all the people who speak normal basics. I think that would be the language.
And I think we're going to hear him talk this season.
Well, all we've heard so far are baby noises.
Yeah. But, he could say dada or something. Man-Dad.
Man-Dad. Man-Dad.
Man-Dad-Lorian. Hashtag.
This is the way. Yes.
No, another thing I was thinking when you think... So when you go back and rewatch it, throughout the entire season, he keeps saying, man, I got to get one of those. Man, I got to get one of those. And at the end, he finally gets his jetpack. So what if that's the thing for every single season? He gets another piece of, tech or a weapon. And the entire second season, he's just looking at Moff Gideon like, man, I got to get one of those dark sabers. Man, I got to get one of those. And he gets it at the end.
Well, I'm just saying, because we talked about this a little bit, wouldn't it be kind of cool for him to get one of those old mechs? What were they? The Basilisk?
Yes.
Is that what it's called?
Yes.
The old
serpent things.
Like coming up on one of those just on his travels and like having to use that in a battle. Because historically, those are really BA pieces of machinery, kind of like living tech. So I think that would be really cool to bring back something like that. But see, the other thing too is, and this was a sort of a switch in Rebels, the Darksaber became a symbol for the ruling party of Mandalore.
Yep. Just as symbolic as his helmet.
Right. But previously, Mandalore, that was all centered around the helm of Mandalore. Now, again, later it became the saber, but the helm of Mandalore is technically, I don't believe, canon. I don't think anywhere we've ever said that. So that was just like...
It's not in Rebels or anything
that's just like legends, and then it just became the Darksaber.
Which is kind of cooler in a way.
Do you think they'd ever bring back the helm of Mandalore? Because I don't think that they will. I think it'll just follow the Darksaber, but...
I don't really think they need it. The fact that Gideon has the Darksaber just kind of signifies how the Mandalorians have really fallen and they're scattered and they don't have a leader right now, and it's because of the Empire. So I think that would kind of take away from that.
Well, that's kind of the thing, So the end of Rebels was basically ambiguous. There's still Mandalorians. There's still Sabine. I wonder. I start to want. First of all, I think we're definitely going to have another season of Rebels someday. God, I hope so, because we never explained what happened to Ezra.
Yeah.
So they're searching for him, but we have snippets of Hera in continuing canon, but not Sabine. So I guess now that I'm really starting to think about this, was there a mass Mandalorian extinction? Like, was Gideon, did he actually bring about really the fall of the 10 millionth fall of the Mandalorian? I mean, no disrespect, but wait a minute. These are fictional characters. I mean, you can totally disrespect if I want. But they've always had that. They fell to the Jedi. They fell to themselves. They're a warrior clan.
It's going to happen eventually.
So I'm kind of interested to know. I wonder, God, wouldn't it be interesting if this series somehow tied up Sabine's storyline? Do you think that they would do that in this?
Would that work with the timeline? It should.
Well, I mean, it should.
They would have to do just a couple-year time jump here and there, but no, not really.
No.
That would work.
Right.
It would be the right timeline.
Well, again, because Rebels was the early kind of flushing, the early rebellion. So technically we still have, 4, 5, and 6. We have a time frame here, and this is after what would be episode 6.
I'm drawing a blank here. Isn't there... Syndulla isn't one of the ones that... Or the one that has a relationship with Kenobi, though, right? Kanan.
Hera?
Yeah.
Hera and Kanan were together.
Okay.
Obi-Wan...
But with that timeline, who has the relationship with Obi-Wan?
The Duchess Satine.
The Duchess. Okay,
Mandalorian.
So they, in canon, have a daughter, don't they?
No.
Or it's kind of speculated that they do?
No. There's speculation, but the whole thing with that was, and that was in... you'll see that in Clone Wars, where... he does tell her that if you would have said, to leave the Jedi Order, he would have.
Right.
But no, she died in his arms. There was, that
wasn't
was
it Maul that kills her?
I believe so. So no, that
I thought there was some speculation. I was to say that'd be kind of interesting.
yeah,
if they
there's
did that kind of
speculation,
tie-in.
but there's never anything solid about that. So I don't know. But there again, I mean, the Empire could have wiped out the Mandalorians.
But
during
Gideon
the
also
series
has
as
a
well,
lot
so.
of knowledge of Mando. He
Seems
has
to be.
access to that knowledge for everybody.
Well,
so
see, that's the ISB part of
Yeah.
him, which again, I noted that in the episode, which I thought was really cool because the ISB is in the books. Obviously, you know, they're your internal sort of like CIA with the SS sort of feel. Internal.
they'd be the people to do it though, to wipe them out.
Yeah.
So
But I'm just thinking, it's like, you know, obviously, I don't think you would see Sabine if that were something that ended along the line, but it would be interesting to see a wrap up. But again, like, I still think that there's going to be more Rebels.
yeah.
At least I hope.
I can't see them doing another Clone Wars season, not doing Rebels eventually. So
Yeah. Well,
they might save it for that.
We have we've made a lot of very sticky webs.
Yeah.
Because even like returning Ezra anywhere close to that timeline is very, in a way, problematic because then you're dealing with another Jedi in the time of Luke and everything.
And it makes it very difficult to go back to the original trilogy. That's always been my fear, that we're going to do so much that it just completely ruins the lore of the original trilogy.
So it's difficult, and I don't know. I think there's a ton that we still need to.
Of course, we see that with
get
Jedi
into.
Fallen Order too. We have that potential too
Yeah.
if they don't kill him off. So,
Well, yeah, he was at the end of the game. He's still there.
Yeah.
He's still off in
and
the
we're going to
galaxy.
have another game. So
And,
unless they kill him off, then that's really going to cement his place
Yeah.
in lore. So
Well, again, this becomes a discussion about foresight and the fact of the matter that we started this chain in the 70s.
yeah, 42 years now.
And-
And again, it was meant to be one movie.
Well,
Potentially one movie.
Yeah, it was like the plan of, well, I will do this one movie. Obviously, he had more ideas, but it's like I may only get the chance to make one movie, and here it is. So I don't know, man. I mean, certain things are very sticky. I was just reading something about a potential spoiler for, not a spoiler, but an issue, like a plot hole being thrown in there from this last season of Clone Wars, and then potentially messing up something in Episode 3. Which, when you really read it, it's not the case. We'll talk about that another time, but it's not really the case if you really think about it.
A lot of Clone Wars kind of messes up Episode 3 in a way, because you have that entire movie and Ahsoka is never mentioned. Obviously, she can't be because this was around the same time that it came out. But why? And Ahsoka is such a compelling character that it's kind of made it hard, because she's one of my favorite characters. She's just freaking awesome.
Well, again, that she leaves the Jedi Order, and that's kind of like your talk off. It's like, well, she wasn't there. Okay, she was.
So we
doing
just
her
stopped
stuff.
talking about her, clearly.
Yeah, well, Ahsoka is awesome. Obviously, I think someday, I
I
really
want to
do
see live action eventually.
I really do
It'd be
feel like
very difficult
eventually-
to do unless you get the voice actor to play her.
I don't think it'd be
You
difficult.
got to
at all.
have the voice actor.
To be honest with you, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about like Rosario Dawson playing Ahsoka, which Rosario Dawson is beautiful. I've always thought she was beautiful, and she is a great actress as well. I've always enjoyed her work.
The good thing with it being Ahsoka is she's an alien. You can work around that regardless of the person.
But to your point though, it would be very difficult to for most people to even have let's say it's Rosario Dawson. We're going to put her in place, but then have her voice. Oh, wait a minute. Well, why can't you just voice over Ashley Eckstein, which is what they did with Maul, but Maul in the movies, which was a much smaller character.
Yeah.
So I think it would be difficult. I mean, I know that Eckstein has some acting experience. I don't know. God, I mean, could she do it? I think she would make a heck of a run at it.
You know what? If they paid her enough, she'd learn how to do it. She'd learn the choreography and she'd figure it out.
I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, there are tons of folks with minimal experience with, a lot of different things, and the things you can be taught is relative. You can learn about anything if you really want to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at Ewan and Hayden. They didn't have any experience with that kind of choreography. They didn't have any background in saber fighting.
Well, and legitimately pulled off one of the greatest
best fight scenes in
choreographed. Yeah, for sure.
Which is probably one of the reasons that movie is so high ranked in my list. Is because of the fighting. It's just amazing in that movie compared to every other movie.
The list.
But getting back to Mandalorian, how would you feel if there's just no more tie-ins whatsoever? Because I'm honestly okay with there being no tie-ins to the rest of canon.
Here's the thing, though. They've done so much already, like bringing us back to Tatooine.
Yeah.
They've already done a ton of tie-ins, but I think that because we're talking...
They're subtle tie-ins, though. They really are.
But we're talking about Mandalorians, and we've had so much Mandalorian stuff already. And as soon as you put the Darksaber on screen... people automatically are going to think about Sabine.
Oh, yeah.
And Sabine Wren is also another one of the, very beloved characters from Rebels. Mm-hmm. Folks might get a little bit, annoyed with Ezra. Kanan's obviously great, but unfortunately he did, die in season 3 or 4. Gosh, I can't remember. 4.
I think it's 4.
And Hera is off doing her thing still. But, Sabine is one of those characters that, She's very interesting. She's Mandalorian. She went to the Imperial Academy. She created weapons, terrible weapons, turned herself around, joined the early rebellion, did a lot of things, very artistic. And, it's just super interesting. And I think that we're certainly in an era where Disney seems to want to give fans maybe a little bit of what they want.
What if the Forge Master is Sabine?
Don't act like I haven't thought about it.
That would be epic.
See, here's the thing. So Sabine's mother had a very interesting helmet that was kind of a little bit reminiscent of that. If I don't think you could, I don't think that that's how it's going to be, but I think it would be hilarious. And I actually had that thought too at one point. What if they were just like, oh, guess what? The armor is Sabine. Have fun, Star Wars verse. Enjoy. Oh my God!
And the internet destroyed itself today. Who's going to be around? Like,
I don't know.
Is Sabine famous enough for Mando to just know who she is?
Well, again, that's sort of.
Or is it going to be one of those things like no one in the show knows who Sabine is, but we all are crapping ourselves?
It just drives back to my first point. Like, who are these Mandalorians and why are they following this code? And, how do they fit into the grander scheme of things? And hopefully, again, that's something we get in season 2.
Yeah. I think the show is going to become less of a, monster of the week.
Oh, I don't think so. I think that's exactly what it's going to be.
I don't know. I feel like we could get more into a cohesive story without that in the background, especially now that we have Moff Gideon. I mean, we're going to have to do that for some more characters to be added. I think it's a good way to add new characters,
right? But that's honestly though, that's the same formula that Clone Wars and Rebels did.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an overarching war, but you still have your episode of the week type of deal, and it dealt with something kind of different each time, with vague tie-ins to the main. And this season was unique because we didn't have the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Now we're starting to see the bigger picture. Yeah. The big picture, and that was just keep Baby Yoda alive, and that required us to go here, here, and here to hide out. Yeah. So yes, I still think it'll be sort of a similar formula, but you're right. I mean, there should be a larger overarching thing that now they're kind of trying to fight against. So we will see. We will see.
It is the way.
Yeah.
I have spoken.
God. Oh, goodness. So,
who are you the most sad to see die? Him or the droid? I like the droid more, honestly.
So Queel or what it was.
Queel.
I don't know. I mean, he was fine.
We didn't get a lot of him, though. We got, 2 episodes with him?
Yeah, but like I said, I mean, my whole thing is I probably would have cared a little bit more about these characters if they would have actually crewed up.
Yeah.
Like a little bit more than what they did. I think he was interesting, but again, he obviously knew a lot about tech. He was.
He could have been very valuable.
Yeah, the thing is like, so if you would have traveled together for a while and maybe elongated that, and it's kind of like oh yeah, he's your tech guy and he's doing this, that, and the other. It was kind of similar reaction to a Rio in Solo. It's like,
you didn't get enough time with him to care about.
Yeah, it's like, I understand in that
You're a cool character, but I just don't care enough about you.
Right, but in that one, they were more of a crew, but still, we didn't have enough time with the crew to really fully understand it. He was just a pilot. Yeah. So
same with drawing a blank on his name right now, but his wife, crew leader's wife. It's really compelling characters, but just not enough screen time.
I don't know. Her death though was a little bit more impactful. Her death was,
I think, impactful, but not necessarily needed.
Yeah, and that was a criticism. But anyway, so for Queel, it was just kind of like, I get him. He's kind of an old dude. He's got his blurgs. He's doing stuff. We understand that he's tech savvy, but if they would have been able to crew up a little bit more like I kind of predicted, and it wasn't quite the case, I think we would have all been a little bit more involved in that. It was still sad. It was very sad, and it was like, oh, crap, man, we don't even get the chance.
And I think that the biggest missed opportunity with that isn't so much him crewing up with Mando as much as what would his dynamic have been with Cara? Because they were at odds with each other.
Yeah.
They were on separate sides of a war. So...
Yeah, but I think the IG-11 thing, I think that he was a little bit more ingrained.
Yeah, we had more screen time with him, especially that last episode.
Yep. And, obviously the only one to see the Mando's face because he's not human.
Also
he's not a living thing.
Also a big turning point for Mando to actually let a droid in a way. I mean, with how much he hated droids, that was a big change in his personality, his character.
I was a little bit, honestly, I kind of wish they would have been able to keep him around a little bit more.
Again, they kind of killed off the whole potential for a crew other than with Cara. So.
Yeah, and the only thing though that again, they did it twice now. Why can't Cara just go with him? Like, why can't they just be a crew? I still believe that's what's going to happen.
It needs to, and that should be really the whole second season.
I don't want her to be the baby's mother.
No.
That's not what I want. I don't want them to be in a relationship necessarily either. I just want her around more because I think she's a good character.
Freaking awesome and useful. Yeah. Why wouldn't you want her around? She's a good enough fighter. She's just as good of a fighter as you. That's been pretty much, clarified with old mean cup scene.
She can like punch people in helmets and apparently feel nothing.
Yeah.
Which, okay, I want to talk about that a little bit. So I understand being tough, but there is an element from the fighting standpoint here that I find a little clunky. And
literally.
Well, unfortunately, some of this is due to armor movement, but just that fight scene between Cara and Mando.
Yeah.
If you're going from a psychological standpoint, yes, it looks good. Obviously, you get the sense that she's very tough. But punching somebody in a metal helmet is literally one of the dumbest things you can do. It's like in the NFL when like linemen have a shoving match and then one like takes a swipe at a dude's helmet. It's like, you do realize that's the dumbest thing you can do. Yeah. Well, we all know what to do because Myles Garrett showed us. He showed us what to do. He showed us the way.
Use that thing like a rock.
Like, listen here, Mason. I'll show you what. I'm going to put your helmet on real hard, boy. But anyway,
beat you within an inch of your life with your own helmet, boy.
That's right. Here's your helmet. But anyway, so I think that that sort of choreography maybe could have been a little smarter.
Do you think they just didn't really think about it?
Well, I think it was just trying to show that she's very tough. Yeah. The other thing is, I didn't like that he attempted to use the flamethrower.
The flamethrower
on her. Yeah. That to me, to be honest with you, that's a weapon that I'm just not a huge fan of, and the only reason is he cooked a trooper.
Yeah.
Like, he cooked a trooper. And that's been something he's very ready to go to. He's very ready to go to all his weapons, but personally, I think that could have been omitted because it seemed like a very dodgy move.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. But that's the only thing. And like I said, some of the fighting is a little clunky, and then we constantly see him getting shot. Mm-hmm. It's hitting his armor, but,
pre-Beskar armor, by the way.
Yeah, but there was obviously something to that. But you're right. I mean, it's not true Beskar, but I don't think that armor would have stood up to the assassin's rifle.
No.
So thankfully you did have that. But again, I kind of look at some of that stuff and it's like, it looks cool. It looks fun.
But it kind of makes him incompetent as a fighter to be that willing to take a hit like that.
I mean, it could be kind of part of the strategy. It's like, I don't have to worry about this. If I move this way, it'll catch my shoulder, or it'll catch me right in the chest, and I'll be cool so I can continue to move and be a little bit less reserved. Because, I mean, that's actually a very Sith way of fighting, where they might take a little bit of damage in order to gain a critical strike or something like that. But I think that from a strategic standpoint, what happens when it misses the armor?
High risk.
Yeah, so that's my
his armor has as many weak points as a stormtrooper's armor. And throughout the books, good God, we know how many weak points there are in stormtrooper armor and how easy it is to hit them.
Well,
why hasn't that happened here yet?
Well, honestly, that changes. Sometimes you can just blast through it. Other times you have to hit.
Sometimes they're brick walls. Sometimes they're pillows.
Yeah. So I don't know. That might be the only criticism is just some of the fighting is just. But like even in the first episode with those guys in the bar, that was pretty cool. It was neat. The kind of showdown with IG-11 in the first episode was also pretty cool.
Yeah.
Even a lot of stuff when we were in the prison ship.
The prison was one of my favorite because it was almost like a Predator style thing.
Yeah.
Some of the takedowns were a little disappointing in a way. Some of them were kind of cheesy. Some of them were pretty cool.
Yeah.
But they did show a diverse range of combat styles with Mando.
Right.
Especially when he took down those droids in the prison scene.
Yes. Yeah.
That was the biggest struggle for him in the entire season.
And I also made this observation too. They're not speeding up the combat. So at the very least, they're showing it at a realistic speed. Yep. It's not movie sped up or anything.
Yeah, cut scenes from one kill to another.
And fighting can be very clunky anyway. Oh, yeah. So I'm not trying to go off on that. I'm just saying that like there are certain choices of the choreography that I wish they could change. Kara should be going for the body. Should be trying to take an arm or a leg, but trying to hit ring his bell in the helmet. It's a metal helmet.
Yeah. And if they're gonna go that route, maybe it's just they show it as being reactionary, she didn't think about it, and then show it hurting her.
Yeah.
I'd be more okay with that.
Yeah, but she's tough, and I'm definitely, like I said, I just want her to be there every episode, and I would be perfectly happy with that. And I don't know if they're doing that just because maybe they think it'll take away from the Mandalorian, because we've already had like Baby Yoda just do everything, but maybe they were a little worried about that, but at the same token,
or maybe that's just what they're doing. And maybe the first season they were just kind of dipping their toes in the water with her.
Very true.
And now with how beloved she is, we're going to see her more often. Hopefully,
she did great. I mean, I remember watching Gina Carano back, and fighting in like Strike Force and everything, and I always kind of thought she was, a unique personality, and I'm glad to see her getting the opportunity, because you see this a lot where sometimes you just see somebody come out of nowhere. It's like, oh yeah, that person.
I know of you, but I would have never thought to put you.
Yeah, from this, and then you get your big break, and then all of a sudden it's like, bang, you're there.
Yeah.
But I mean, because like even like Gal Gadot or Gadot, however you say her name, Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just bam, she's Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh,
then she's a household name.
Well, holy crap.
Yeah.
I mean, the same could be said for Harrison Ford. I mean, the first time
Mark Hamill as well, for that matter.
I mean, the first time the first time I saw Harrison Ford was, wow, I'm forgetting the name of that movie. American Graffiti.
Uh-huh.
It was like a small party. It was drag race that rolled his car. Yeah. And then, pop. Yeah. Han Solo.
Yeah.
And then
Indy.
And then, Tom Clancy, Jack Ryan, Indy. Yeah. The whole gambit. But
he kind of touched on it a little bit too, as far as taking the spotlight. Do you feel like Baby Yoda took too much of the spotlight?
I don't
think
know.
It was a good mix?
I think he's just so darn cute, and you see him like waddle walking around and making his little faces, and kill that noob kind of deal.
Do you think they created Baby Yoda knowing that he was going to be a random meme generator?
I don't know about that, but I think they created him and they saw the potential for it to be very cute.
Yeah.
And, what's Disney without having like a cute little thing?
Oh, yeah. And especially and we've talked about this, a franchise like Star Wars, which is, it can be pretty violent and not a lot of cute little creatures, except for the original trilogy. You got your Ewoks, you got your Wookiees, you got things like that, and you got Gungans for Phantom Menace.
Well,
but you don't have a lot of kid-friendly little creatures.
They do try because
they did with the penguin things.
Porgs.
Yeah, the porgs.
So
Disney's done a better job at that.
There's always something marketable to kids in that form and fashion. I get honestly, I kind of thinking about it like from the sequel trilogy or like the 1, 2, and 3. I mean,
the
prequel trilogy. God, I can't think. So the prequel trilogy. There's not really much exactly from that I would say was like.
It was more like a tween.
It's just like
era
I want a double-bladed lightsaber for Christmas. Yeah. No, I want face paint.
I want all the little creatures from the Attack of the Clones execution scene.
Oh God,
Billy, you're 8 years old.
I want the execution creatures now.
Yeah, goodness.
I want Jango Fett with a head that can be detached because he gets decapitated,
oh my
Daddy.
Goodness. Party time's over.
But no, I think it's a marketing, just a genius move as far as marketing goes with Baby Yoda. I mean,
it would have been had they gotten the freaking products out when it dropped. What I don't want to rehash it.
I don't want to talk a whole lot, but I'll tell you what. I went to the mall a couple weeks ago, and the selections. They came out with there's a kids version of Hot Topic now. It's called Box Lunch or something like that.
What?
It's got a bunch of nerdy kids stuff. Like it's got a lot of clothes, and it's got like Dragon Ball Z stuff, Star Wars stuff, a lot of different nerd culture things. It's
Boxed lunch.
Yeah. Well, the premise is everything you buy.
You can eat?
Yes. There are a lot of ramen noodle memorabilia in there, like a backpack.
Boomer.
But basically, for every certain amount of dollars you spend, they give a free lunch to a kid in another country.
Why do you have to
that.
bring that up? I'm trying to make fun of it and be a real jerk, and you have to make it like, well, they actually have a really good meaning behind it. They give needy kids lunch. Like, oh, crap.
But they had like two things that were Baby Yoda. They're both T-shirts, and the resolution of the pictures printed on them, it looked like a 20-year-old Kodak camera took the picture.
Well, they're just taking screenshots.
Yeah.
It's not promotional photos.
Freaking
Screenshots.
terrible.
Yeah.
We've got the little. They've got a Funko coming out at GameStop.
Yeah.
And a couple of other little things, but it's just too late.
Well, this
and most of them are saying like March release dates.
Yeah, the official license stuff isn't coming out until March. There's going to be
the
several
Hasbro stuff.
several Funkos, shirts, all of it's coming. Plushies. Yeah. It's all coming out, but not until March.
Yeah.
And again, we've talked about it, so I don't really need to rehash it. But I just think they weren't banking on that being as successful. But again, I think that they tried to build in this cute thing, but. I mean, I think people get more annoyed with that sort of stuff. Like, I do see some Porg stuff, but I don't see it being a phenomenon.
Porg was not the next Ewok. It just wasn't.
Well, I mean, it was fun.
You're not going to see a Christmas special on Porgs.
It would just be a bunch of bleeding sounds and the fish people.
And then Chewie eating them.
Oh, Chewie.
Porg Thanksgiving. They're cannibals.
Oh, God. Well, anyway, folks, I think we might start to wrap up here a little bit. Mandalorian season 1. We would very much like to know your thoughts.
Yeah.
So again, all of our social media. We already said it, so I won't plug it again. But reach out if you'd like to. Just let us know what you thought or any theories or anything like that. Just email. Facebook, Twitter, we're all out there. It's all on the show notes as well. Well, we're on YouTube too. But, I mean, not all of them.
Mean comments.
Sure. But any parting thoughts before we sign off?
If the only thing we got, I just have a question. If the only thing we got at Disney Plus for the first year was Mando, we had to pay just for that, would you pay it for that experience since you can't get it anywhere else?
I mean, you're just talking about one show and nothing else on there?
Would you pay $70 just for a season of that show?
Well, no, that
As a Star Wars fan.
No.
If it was the only option.
No, that would be insane. I mean, if there were no other amenities on there, no, I wouldn't pay that just for one show.
Well, knowing what's going to come eventually. But as far as Star Wars goes, I'm not talking like all the Disney stuff, but if this is the only thing from Star Wars we got,
so you mean we still have like...
we wouldn't have Clone Wars, we wouldn't have Rebels, we wouldn't have the movies. Is that worth it just for the Disney stuff and this?
I'd probably wait.
I
mean, just being honest, like if it were one thing, I don't know, man. I would...
the way we do it, too. Consider that $35 for a season of a show.
You know, the wild thing is we did it. We didn't do that much for Game of Thrones, but we did pay for Game of Thrones, which is one show. I don't know, man. You know what? I might.
Probably about $25 to buy it in store at Walmart.
Probably more than that. If they eventually were saying we're going to drop all this, but right now, before we get to loading it, we're going to have that. Yeah, I mean, I would probably be cool with that, but I had no reservation at paying the year sign up because everything was on there.
Yeah.
So that was
a tremendous value, but honestly, I think the quality of the show would probably be worth the way we do it. And let's be honest, most people do it that way. No one's paying the full $70. There's a lot of people sharing for Disney.
Oh, sure. What?
So
Shh. Don't tell anybody.
When we shut down, our checks are going to be cut by $35 a piece.
Need those checks. Need them. But no, I think that I mean the show's well worth it. But I was just telling you, it's like, oh, this is. You just have this sad little app with one tile, and all it is Mando. It's like, hey, welcome to Disney Plus, where all you can see is the Mandalorian week to week. New things are coming. Eventually.
Sometime.
At that point, no, I don't.
Yeah, like the TCL
have
TVs that have the Netflix button, then the Disney Plus button is just a picture of Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
It just goes to... You can't even pick your episode. It just starts it from the beginning every time.
You know what? I may, and because I'm going to do the same thing for Picard when that comes out too. But that one I won't keep because I don't care about the CBS app. I just want to watch the show.
Right.
All right. Well, yeah, good thought, though. Good thought. It's definitely worth the watch. And if you guys haven't watched it and you've made it to this point...
You're kind of dumb.
No, don't call it dumb.
No.
No, I'm just saying that, I mean, there are people like that who just want spoiled.
Spoiler alert, by the way.
Yeah,
we didn't say that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely well worth the watch. It's certainly something. It's certainly a series that I think has united a lot of Star Wars fans, which is really cool because we've
brought a lot of people into the fold too. Everyone knows Baby Yoda.
Yep.
They
very
might
true.
not know what Mandalorian is, but they, by God, know. And maybe that's the reason they did Baby Yoda, because there's a lot of people who don't know who the Mandalorian is.
Even all those boomers, right, Zoomer? All those boomers know it. So anyway, yeah, guys. Well, hopefully you enjoyed the little discussion here. We went down some holes there, but
some Yoda holes,
some Sarlacc pits.
Yeah. But we got our way out of there. Yeah, we clawed our way out.
We weren't digested, so I guess it's good. But anyway, folks, again, hopefully you enjoyed that. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so reach out if you'd like. But we will leave you with all that good stuff, good conversation. So you guys have a great rest of your week.
And as always, may the Force